Mondays to Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. in the newsroom. You can't afford to miss it.
Good afternoon, viewers at home. You are welcome to today's edition of the program in the newsroom, where we discuss salient issues affecting Nigeria as a whole. Today we have come with interesting topics concerning the happenings in the country. First, we are going to look at the comment coming from INEC saying that attack intimidation won't stop credible elections. That is referring to the 2023 general elections. Then we are still going to look, secondly, we are going to look at the state of anti-corruption war in Nigeria today. And the topic is 2023 anti-corruption is in jeopardy. How it is in jeopardy, we are going to look at it when we commence the program. Then thirdly, we are going to look at the oil marketers seem to be abandoning scheme to break subsidy regime. And today, to discuss issues with me, I have my guest already in the newsroom, Barrister Moses Obaditan. You are welcome on the program today.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. I also have with me here Alhaji Muritala Abuola. Alhaji Abuola, you are welcome.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, Nigerians, wherever you may be.
Thank you. And also we have Mr. Kayode Adedire, our own Sake. You are welcome on the program today.
Thank you, Kayode. It's a pleasure being here.
Yeah. All right. Now let's start the program. Attack, intimidation won't stop credible election. That is coming from the INEC. Barrister Moses Obaditan. If we look at the state of attacks on INEC facilities, the latest being the one that happened in Imo recently, in which the INEC facility was attacked and 3 persons happened to lose their life. So, what is your take on this comment from INEC, in spite of this attack and intimidation, that it won't stop credible election? Do you think INEC can survive this?
Yes, INEC can survive it if they have the cooperation of the executive arm. However, some books in the world, particularly by political scholars, have told us that elections are not rigged on the day of election. And in preparation for election, in fact, there have been books that came out and said how to win election, how to rig election. And when you look around, especially in Africa, these intimidations, putting fear into people, if need be, you can destroy where you need your opponent is going to have the highest vote. Those are some of the things that happen. But when you now zero those authors, their views, their submissions, and what happened, and then come back home, you will understand that some of the places where this attack is coming from are not, it don't come as a surprise. One, you will recall that some group in the east and part of the west have said that they are not interested in the collectivity. When I mean collectivity, the word Nigeria. And some of them wanted to pull out to form their own country. The IPOB has been there, and many series of attack has taken place, and each time when they accuse them, they say they are not the one responsible. If you come to the west here, the Oduduwa group and those who want to do Republic are also there. But the issue is that we have not been able, either IPOB or the Oduduwa movement have not been well caught and said they are the one responsible for what's going on. However, what I expect INEC to do, instead of saying intimidation, harassment, would have been to liaise with the Inspector General of Police, liaise with the person in charge of NSCDC and some other security agents, and ensure that where they are keeping some of their materials in preparation for election and well handled, well taken care of, watch over. And then not only that, the federal government under President Muhammadu Buhari should go a bit to see how we could bring about those who feel aggrieved, those who felt there is no need for them to belong to the nation, which we call a geographical expression, and see how we can discuss and maybe persuade and make other groups to change them. But despite all these, how would I call it, the displacement of aggression, frustration, the government appears as if they are not seeing them. And there is no way you can go into election as well as censors, when some other people are carrying arms, killing people. So definitely the turnout will be poor. And if at all they come out, that day of election, the possibility, because it's also in the electoral act that where there have been some violence, such election in that area can be cancelled. So there's a lot that both INEC and the federal government must do before the day of election.
All right. Let me go to Alaji Murtala Agbola. If you consider the series of attacks on INEC facilities, which is becoming so persistent these days, and the INEC is giving assurance that the attack and intimidation won't stop credible election, can INEC be taken serious?
But INEC cannot tell us that the election will not be credible. So, I mean, they have the basic and the fundamental rule to so do.
Okay.
That is the election. But coming to the spate of attacks, well, there are a lot of frustration going around in the country, and a lot of people are disenchanted with the situation. But I don't know how we can place that on the head of INEC. We are talking about persuading about 70 days to the, I think persuasion is out of it. But you see, one fundamental problem here, INEC, the duty of INEC is to conduct election. Yeah. But I think like every other thing in Nigeria, when we see an agency doing well, then we try to multiply their function. Protection of INEC installation of materials is the basic function of the police. I mean, INEC does not have a police on its own. So we normally, in a normal climate, we expect the police or the security agencies to do that. Now, but when you look at the security agencies as we have it today, in spite of the shortage, we still deploy others to do other. For example, I watched the restoration of this Kaduna Abuja railway, and I saw that some heavily armed police security officers, they were on training, and some of them even boarded the train to ensure the safety, which is very good. But what stops us from increasing the number of the personnel? We can deploy technology, we can do all this, but we still need more manpower. So if INEC, their own duty is to ensure that one, political parties are registered, the voters are registered, then they conduct a credible election. So security and even prosecution and some other things should be left to other people. So it is a duty of the Nigerian state to provide security for the protection of their offices and their materials. Now, if you watch the one that took place in the east before this one, even these unclaimed permanent voter register, some of them were damaged. Though in the other side or so, the damage was not heavy, but that was also a damage. So I think more policemen and other security agencies should be deployed. Like I think the role of the NSCDC, civil defense, is to protect a pipeline. But in Osho, we don't have pipeline. So in Osho, I think some of them should be deployed to man these electoral offices.
Okay. All right. Let me go to Mr. Kayode Adedire. Now, let's look at this assurance coming from INEC. INEC is trying to reinforce our confidence that it's ready to conduct credible election. But look at this. I mean, take the issue of attack on INEC facilities. Will it not impede the conduct of credible election in 2023?
Well, thank you. Let me first commend INEC for that courageous statement. It's a courageous one, which means it's an agency that is ready to perform its function, particularly as regards 2023 election. You see, election is a major component of democracy. And if facilities that are designed for the conduct of election, and these facilities are destroyed, it means democracy is under attack. We are assaulting democracy. It means we are not ready for democracy. INEC has said, has taken the position, very courageous position. But how that position can be applied, can be practicalized, we are yet to see that. You see, when the first attack came up, I think in Ogun State,
yes,
and the next one in Osun, and it's spread to
Ebonyi.
I think by now INEC should have taken some proactive steps. Not necessarily because, as Muri said, it's not the business of INEC to protect its facilities. There's an agency meant for that. But INEC should have made it compulsory for these agencies to provide the necessary security for its facilities. It's unfortunate. I think it's a syndicate. In this part of the country, we don't have much of this agitation, which will have warranted, attack on the INEC facilities. I'm talking of agitation for this, what we call it, people wanting to have their own
self-determination.
Yes, we don't have much here. So we know we have that in the East. If it were to be a thing concentrated, we will blame agitation. But in our area here, we don't have that kind of agitation. So I see a kind of network, a kind of syndicate that has made up its mind that 2023 election will not hold. Even if it holds, it will be held under very difficult conditions, and it's very unfortunate. The point is that democracy is under attack.
All right. Now let me come back to the barrister Moses Obadita. The democracy seems to be under attack, like Cardi said now. Now, INEC does not have power over the police. It can only synergize or liaise with it. But can we say that the police has abandoned its responsibility to protect the facilities of INEC?
That's not true. We cannot say that. Because if you look around, apart from INEC, there's always insecurity here and there. From what we were told, the police are under supplied.
Yeah.
The few that haven't available, the politicians have taken about 20% of them, and some are dying or dead, and there's a need for recruitment. Even
some are even retiring every month.
Every month. So and apart from it, even when they said they should recruit about 10,000, politics came in, and I doubt if they have been able to do it today. So when you look around all this one, then let's say the peak of it was that the remuneration, the take home of the police is far below expectation, and that's why whatever training or name you may give to them, they will see demand for money, either at their station or on the road. And so until we are able to look around and see that yes, INEC doesn't have a police, but the country head of state or the executive arm, according to the Constitution, Section 14, Sub 2B, said it shall be the duty of every government, either local government, state government, or federal, to see to the security of lives and property. But in this aspect, Nigeria has failed. It's not only like that have problem. If you want to travel from here and Lagos, now you have to, if you're a Christian, you see the Lord is my shepherd. If you're a Muslim, you have to hold your tasbih and say, Allah, as I'm going to do. So these are some of the things.
That's what Arabic.
Yes, no, that's where I can translate this, my friend. So you will pardon me. So the insecurity in the land is cumbersome, and even the government is not even agreeing, because they will tell us, what are you talking? If you look at it now, security is better than it was 2015. So if somebody is sick, and they say, why don't you see doctors? He will tell you, I'm sound. So that man will have problem in diagnosing and knowing how to get out of the problem. So until we're able to identify that, one of the key issues affecting even the economy, as well as other social aspects, is the insecurity. So if government is able to take measure, assuming even the little they are taking, they have taken it about 2 or years ago, maybe the level of insecurity would not have been as bad as it is today. So the issue is not maybe INEC is this or that. No, it is a collective problem, a general headache. But then the issue we should be asking that, now that we are approaching election, my friend said, when you have about 70-something days to election, so how do you solve it? Well, if you want election, and I know it has been in the days of Jonathan, there was this fear, or that the people in the Borno state and the axis will not be able to participate in election. And they said, I think they almost said they engaged some people from South Africa.
Oh yes, mercenaries.
The mercenaries. And they were able to do something about it. So if government is able to wake up from their slump and take real measure without being biased on religion or ethnic issue, then INEC should be in a better place. Then secondly, the political class, we cannot exonerate them. There are some, either because of not being close to the grassroots or the people that voted them, and they felt, how do we make sure that either you can create problem here and there. There are allegations. We're not sure if it's true, but there is the likelihood. There are other political permutations of creating some, unrest here and there, either in the opponent section or your area, so that the election can pass. Then, not only that, despite the assurance the INEC are given to that, the what they call the new method, the electronic
by mover,
and they are saying we have tested it, we tried it in Ekiti, it works in Osun, we can use it. The politicians are still singing a different song. So what other? Somebody said, look, I'm the latest doctor in town, and this is a credible drug. If you allow us to apply it, it's going to kill leprosy. And you are saying you are doubting the telescope in the hands of the doctor. That's not your business. What you should do is for you to prepare yourself, make yourself available, and let the doctor do his own job. So if the political class can call themselves to order and appeal to their follower, so that they can be prepared instead of disorganizing the society, create panicking here and there, and allow the INEC to conduct their election properly. I don't think there's a problem, because even during registration, you know what happened is, while some people are killed, some INEC staff will not be found. So these are some of the areas where we say the politicians themselves should be able to examine themselves and realize that the problem today is that either they call themselves to order or the federal government pick them up before they destroy the society.
All right. Now, I like the Muritala Bona. The other time when Kayode was speaking, he said the attack on INEC facilities is an indication of the syndicate at work. Why would some people not want election to hold? Why?
That's a very simple analogy. Look, we are all good people, are we not? But we still have criminals in our society, don't we? We all go to church and mosque, singing hallelujah, saying Allahu Akbar. But yet, they are, of course, in every society, there's no society that is completely free of criminals. So, and the syndicates will always be there because they have to protect a narrow interest, which is not coterminous with the larger interest of the society. Some people have to be rich so that others will be poor. And so the syndicates, they do it because they want it to favor them. Those who are doing it are not ordinary people like you and I. Now, they have some big bosses. And like we all know, Nigerian laws are not meant for big people. They are meant for ordinary people like you and I. That's why when somebody steals fowl or steals a goat, they can send him to 5-10 years in jail. But when a big man steals, somebody said, lawyer is here, he can testify to that. You steal big money. Then you go and hire a son, a senior advocate of Nigeria. Now when the senior advocate then say, okay, you see, this money, I think we can go for plea bargaining. So you stole 5 billion, go and pay 100,000 naira. That's okay. So that's the system we are practicing. The system is not favorable to the larger interests of the people. And as long as we have that, this thing will continue. And don't forget, if you get into politics today, you become a different being. You become a born again. And you see no evil, you talk no evil, you hear no evil. So, and if the case is so, people will do anything and everything to ensure they get to power. And part of the ensuring they get to power is to cut corners, is to do what the society does not want. But as long as that protects their own interests, so they will continue to be syndicate. And today, if you don't have money, nobody respects you in the society. If you have power and you have money, then respect is guaranteed and you can do anything. Even when you know you are doing the wrong, but okay, what you are doing, what do you mean? When he's arrested, immediately he's arrested, he'll be free. So that's the society we live in. So they will continue to be syndicates. Those who are doing this, they are not spirits. They are human beings. But because of impunity, in fact, the greatest problem Nigeria has, incidentally to me, is not even corruption. It's impunity. When you do something and you know there is sanction, they will apply sanction on you. You not do it. But if you do it and so what will happen? Nothing. And nothing will happen to. So it will encourage another person to do the same. So there will always be syndicate and they want to protect their interests. What we expect of INEC, and I think so far so good, with the one introduced by the former INEC chairman, this registration, that was fantastic. Now we have the bimover, the beavers, that's also fantastic, and electronic transmission of results. With these two combinations, if it is implemented to the latter, I mean, we will not have problem. Can we walk the talk? That's the position.
All right. Now, Kayode, if going by your submission the other time, the mafia is at work against 2023 general elections, and going by what Alhaji Murtala Agboola said now, it's like the country is changed. Then how do we break the change and ensure credible elections in 2023?
You see, it appears some people have lost confidence in the democracy. And so they want to do everything to truncate it. And you see, politics is power. And people want power. And also politics has become, in Nigeria has become the cheapest way to make wealth. So people of all sorts do everything legal or illegal to acquire such powers. And you agree with me that those who commit these atrocities, they are not the politicians themselves. They are errand boys. They are their foot soldiers. They commit this offense. But since INEC has come out boldly that it will go ahead and conduct 2023 election, I think all we need to do is to support the agency with everything possible. And INEC also should now try and make it mandatory for security to be provided at these facilities. When I passed through the INEC office at Abiri, I see this, what do you call this, this APC, what do you call it? Armored station there. I mean, that's one of the steps that should be taken. Apart from that, security should be beefed up around INEC facilities. It is the good news is that of all the attacks, except the latest one, INEC continue to tell us that its sensitive materials are not affected and no life is lost, except this latest one in Imo, where we are told some of the government were gone down. So it means facilities, I mean, items to be used for this election, they are intact. But that is too early to be too much comfortable. We have about 70 or how many days now. Yes. So anything we hope bad things that don't happen.
All right. Now, thank you, gentlemen. Let's move to the second topic of our discussion for today. 2023, anti-corruption is in jeopardy. Barrister Moses Obaditan. Why would the anti-corruption be in jeopardy?
Well, it's not a question of yes and no. The anti-corruption in Nigeria has always facing challenges. And I remember when Ribadu, which will have said he was one of the foundation leader, came with a report in 2003 that out of 36 governors, 32 of them were found wanting. And before you know it, there came an erosion that swept off Ribadu himself. At the end of the day, they were even, I think they arrested him. He was demoted. And if you remember the other man too, what was his name? The one that Salami sat over. Magu has challenges. And one of the challenges was the Attorney General of the Federation, which whenever Magu was taking one step, he's taking the other. And the government under the military that arranged it to put EFCC or the ICPC under the Attorney General has not done a good job, because under the Constitution, the Attorney General have a power of which he can always ask for a case to be terminated as long as judgment has not been given. And they call that case?
Nulli
prosecuted. And this has jeopardized most of the investigations that will have taken place. That's another. Then thirdly, the executive arm have not given the anti-corruption a free hand. We have seen most of the people cross over to the ruling party. Is either the case are withdrawn, we will only prosecute, or they just ignore it, or the file was collected, and when they collect file from a lawyer or a court, you can't continue. You don't know you don't know when the date is coming up. So, and we ever seen, even to the national chairman of APC, having about 17 count charged for about billions of naira with his son, and the case was eventually withdrawn. And even sometimes when you even say Akpabio too, before he was in PDP, was governor for 8 years before he crossed over, the case was withdrawn. So if you say anti-corruption, it's not new. It was, I would have said it was used from the beginning. When Obasanjo was there, the anti-corruption agents were used as an attacking dog. It is only those who are in the opposition that had the heat. It was later on that maybe we are beginning to see when the Buhari came and said, okay, I will not know anybody, whoever offend this is going to be. But then we realized the story is not the same today. But look at the two governors who are sentenced, convicted that they stole the government, the money of their state. Who gave them pardon?
Nyami and Dari.
Yeah. And so what you are saying is that no, the government is enjoying the game. Initially they felt maybe they could use it, but they now realize that just as every individual that goes to the market cannot claim that he doesn't touch dust, or dust will not touch him. So either you are PDP, you are APC, there are some with the finger, or like the bullet you call them, the five level finger. So we have the leprous finger cutting across board. So until the government were able to see a Caesar coming to judgment, or a Solomon coming to judgment, and said, look, a Daniel. It's his own Solomon. So he's going to close his eye and said, either you are from my party or you are not there. This is the story. So these are the reasons why it looks as if the anti-corruption they are in trouble. They are not in trouble because they don't have the power. They are in trouble because the government does not want them to touch the untouchables.
Yeah. All right. Let me go to Alaji Moritala. 2023 anti-corruption is in jeopardy. Where do we go from here?
You see, Buhari came to power with high hopes to fight corruption. In fact, one of the mantra of that government was to fight corruption. But today, I think most people are not convinced that he has done a good job in that direction. And like the barrister said, look, when you get there, you see these things differently. When we begin to ask, what is this? People will be telling me, okay, what is all this? I went to Obasanjo's ancestral home, Ibogunla. That's where the village he was born, in Ifo local government. Ibogunla. So, and I entered his duplex, and I saw the picture of Tafa Balogun. He was then the IGP then, before he was removed. So what I'm trying to say is that, you see, at a certain point, when they started well, EFCC started well. Today, if you ask me to rate the two, in fact, I prefer to rate ICPC higher than EFCC. EFCC, I think they do most of a media trial. But these people go in depth, and by the time they establish any case against any person, in fact, it will be difficult for that person to exculpate himself, to exonerate himself from the blame. So I respect them. But all said and done, you see, fighting corruption, I think we have to change the strategy. They are in jeopardy because when Buhari was coming in, because when he came in 1983-84, he had this anti-corruption, we had war against indiscipline, and then discipline generally. So people thought he still had that steam, that courage, that charisma to fight the war. But unfortunately, he became a different person. Although some people too defend him that maybe because of the sickness or but whatever it is, the end story is that he has not fought the corruption the way we wanted. And the question is, can we even get anybody to do that? Well, in human situation, since change is the only permanent thing, we can still not raise our hopes totally. But I think it's very difficult. So what should we do? If it is even, what we should do is that we should look into our laws and look at the loopholes created by the laws that allow people to steal money. Then after they have stolen the money, you now ask some people, you set up another committee to now investigate. And at the end of the day, now how come the accountant general, the suspended accountant general, how can an individual have access to over 100 billion? I mean, what type of society is that? And yet we'll be claiming that. So let us look into the loopholes. And then you see, if they are got, we have auditor general, for example. We have auditors in the states. Now, if it is 1 year that they are required to do this, can't we bring it down? Say maybe three months, or maybe 6 months. Look, if we allow the crime to be committed, and then later we now we'll be chasing shadows. So let us look into the loopholes, and then we try to, like he said, national chairman of APC. He has some. Look, Odis Okalu, he went out of government in 2003. No, I mean 2003.
Yeah, 2003.
2007.
2003, I accused them. Is it not they were accused for that?
Yes. Yes.
2003.
The case is still on since 2003 to 2023.
He went to jail and came back.
He came
technically
really. I think the case is still on. It's still on. So you can just imagine it. So it is all a hanky paddy something. Okay, we are going there. Don't forget us. If there's any case, throw it away. So.
All right. Kayode, anti-corruption is in jeopardy. Then, how do we win war on corruption?
You see, that statement smacks of acceptance and admission of failure. And it's unfortunate. Like other discussants have said, this government came into office on this tripodal mantra: anti-corruption, economy, and security. And in all the three areas, it is failure. Except we want to deceive ourselves. It is failure. And we are going 2023. If a government that came with this promise of fighting corruption and just had about how many days, how many months left, and now telling us that that year he will be leaving office is in jeopardy, it's a clear acceptance of failure. And unfortunately, Nigerians trusted this president so much. In fact, some people painted a kind of saintly picture about the man before he came into office, And at the end of the day, you've seen the deceit all over. He was in the United Nations 77th session at the National United Nations, and he spoke on the topic he titled "Corruption Destroying African Countries." Corruption destroying African countries. And I know Nigeria was in focus anyway. So it is a serious issue. The anti-corruption agencies have not lived up to expectation. And judiciary also is not helping matters. You've seen cases of people alleged of corruption going to court to stop being investigated. And they get away with it. I mean, what are we talking about? So if you are, I think it's an area that judiciary should look into. There's an allegation hanging on your neck. I now rush to the court and say, look, I shouldn't be investigated. And you are granted that thing. And we are talking of corruption, we are fighting corruption. Corruption is fighting back. That is the message. Corruption is, and as this man said, when he said, if you don't kill corruption, corruption will kill. If Nigeria does not kill corruption, corruption will kill Nigeria. So we are on the verge of getting killed by corruption. That is the message I see from that statement.
All right. Thank you. Let me come back to Barrister Obadito. Now, if anti-corruption agencies are overwhelmed by challenges and they can no longer function effectively, do we now scrap them and continue to live with the monster called corruption?
No, it hasn't got to that level. To some degree, you must give it to them, because recently they were saying they won over 200 and something cases. Since they came, they are tried. It's only when it comes to big man. Somebody who said big man, big trouble. There are some who we call untouchables. So it is then that you realize that the judge, even though they say we know that this man you can only back, you can bite. So in a situation like that, like Angola said, we need to look at our constitution. What are those lacunae? What are those areas that people are exploiting? Number one of those is Section 308, which give immunity to some public officers. president, the vice president, the governor, and the deputy governor, that this area must be expunged. The former prime minister of Israel was jailed. In Brazil was jailed. Even when they were there, sitting vice president.
Yes.
So, but in our country, you dare not. Even the Supreme Court held on the Gani Fahimi versus Bola Tinubu in the Supreme Court, you can only investigate when he ceased to be in power, then you can then bring it. So that period of cease to be, the thing will have cooled off. Most, if somebody is an intelligent individual, will have wiped off those things you require to be able to prosecute. Let's look at some of the one you mentioned. Our captain Kade was saying that some people go to court. Yes, Peter Odili went to court.
Yes.
He obtained what they call perpetual injunction. The word perpetual means never. Never look into this area. So that's wrong.
His wife is no longer there now.
He didn't come before the wife. But I'm just trying to see how. Let's look at James Ibori. 183 charges were brought against James Ibori before Olakuleyin at the High Court in Delta State. Ibori was free. The same issue, Ibori went to jail over there. Because over there, they don't look at personality. They look at credible evidence. Then the problem confronting EFCC is that they do media trial. If you look at Madweke, you look at James Ibori, you look at former governor of Bayelsa, Alamasia, they did not try them on pages of newspaper. They don't even allow them to know they were under investigation. And they were laundering money, they were keeping tabs on them. At the wee hour, they went after them with credible evidence and said, see yourself. Are you guilty? They said, I'm guilty. And they will not bring up. But here, as you look at the bank a few weeks ago, the bank, you collect money from social and social, you don't make that noise. He can't collect. Who are the people that gave him the money? Why don't you mention their name? If you get this one credible, you just pick the man, take him to court, charge him with credible evidence. But here, they will have, when you say I'm working an office, and you are making noise, the Accountant General of Bosa State is taking this money as Accountant General. Will I wait for you? Now, look at the case of Accountant General of the Federation, 109 billion. That man has people who are working for him. Yes. He has friends, and by the time that case come up, those evidence, the timer will have eaten it up. If the one that is not eaten up by timer will have got burnt off, or himself will have taken them out. So, in an advanced country, you don't mention it. The FBI will have been monitoring you, and the way how they just pick you and bring. So, these are some of the things. Yeah, they said the lawyer, yes, from the inner lawyer and the outer lawyer are guilty. So, but then do we continue to be actually guilty? No, it is leadership that determines. For example, if you look at one of these this South American country that normally smuggle drug,
Colombia.
Colombia,
Mexico.
And so Mexico. They were that drugs thing was so terrible that one of them even had one big name that America has to fear. But when a leader came and said no, he used true mantra: your name, your implication, and then the nation. And he started this one as if it's a sort of a social mantra to change the society. Today the story has changed. So until the leader determined the direction and said, look, this one, it has affected us. This one did not only affect the image, it affects the economy itself. If you look around, look at the bales of money that have been brought out. Some has even spoiled, and some people kept it. You can't do that in Western country. That maybe just woke up and say, okay, from now by January 15, no money. Because where were you when Yakubu had a bungalow, kept dollars and pounds sterling? What did you do till today? When I'm talking of Yakubu, I'm talking of the former NNPC director. So these are some of the things that the state should have taken cognizance, prosecute them. What of the money found in the Victoria Island?
Yes.
In charge of the other EFCC or some of these security network. NIA. So that's the end of the story. So these are some of the things because leader is the one that determines the direction of the country. So until a leader come and say, look, I hate corruption. I don't want you to get closer to me. That's the only way that we can change. Look at what is happening to former president of South Africa. Yes. Was jailed for content and he's still back in it. Even the president.
Yes,
so but here, even when you mention it,
that's going to be the end of the story. So we are simply not serious because we believe, even when they see that as which Nigeria is not corrupt. So are we going to be singing that song until everything vanishes?
All right.
So it is time to do something.
All right. Alhaji Agbola, anti-corruption is in jeopardy, yes. But corruption itself is a phenomenon that has to be tamed, whether we like it or not.
Yes.
How do we go about it?
Well, you see, there's no country, not even the advanced country, that's totally free of corruption. But the only difference between them and us is that they have, through their laws, they have, through traditions and other things, try to reduce it to the barest minimum. Now here, we encourage it. People come out boldly and openly to say they have gotten rich through this way. What's the name of that Lagos boy, Yahoo boy that was arrested by Americans? Hush Puppy. You know, the Americans kept up on him. He was doing it.
What of the SA to Ogun State?
Okay. So they pick him and like this, and the guy did not come out. In fact, he's sober. After he was sentenced, he became a sober person. So what I'm saying in effect is that, you see, all of us, including you and I, because we are also part of the society, it starts from the home. Are we role models to our offspring? Those children God has given us. Now, what do you do as a father? What do you do as a mother to be a role model to your own children? That's where it starts. Today, we believe that in those days, when children were coming up, it is the duty of the whole society to take care of the children. But today, even from the home, we cannot tame them. Omataye babi, la yenkpan. You see, we cannot. My late father was illiterate, but as leader, he was a disciplinarian. When I entered the university and he said, telling me and I said, Baba, you should understand now. You are not school. It's a simple instruction. Meet me at farm, and that was all. Because I don't have any father, I have to join him. Today, if you ask your son to sit down, they will ask you, but you asked me to sit down. Why should I sit down? No, tell me the reason. Convince me why I should sit down. That's the type of children we have. And you see, we believe erroneously, if you are not very careful, in fact, he will eat more thrice the yati oganje. We have to be disciplined ourselves. If we are disciplined and we don't go above our means,
all right.
I know how much I earn. So if there's any, but you see, I want to be Owambe. I want to be everywhere. I want to be, when I don't, then I resort to, you see, that's why, you see, when you tell one lie, you need 4 or 5 to cover it. So when it starts from the home, then in the society, who are the people we give chieftaincy titles?
All right.
In the churches, in the mosque. So all these things contribute to where we find ourselves today.
All right, thank you. Kayode, before we round up on the topic, how do we really, how do we go about enhancing the effectiveness of the anti-corruption agencies?
Well, it is leadership. It is leadership. You see, I want to see a leader that will emerge one day in this country. Because lawyers will say crimes don't have expiry dates, isn't it?
Yes.
So even a crime that is as old as 50 years, if that alleged criminal,
the man was the one with Libya airplane was picked up.
Yes, was picked up.
30 years.
Yes. So we need a leader who will be courageous enough to revisit all these issues we have been discussing and others have also been discussing, and that leader will now come up and do the needful. So it is leadership.
All right. Now, thank you, gentlemen. Let's go to the last topic of our discussion today, and that's the third topic. Oil marketers abandon scheme to break subsidy regime. Mr. Obaditan, why would the oil marketers abandon their scheme to break subsidy regime?
The story from what we've gathered was that the government itself said NNPC is now privatized, or is now a liability company. But they are the one who has sold power to import. But from what we have gathered from them is that they do not have a single depot. So they have to engage private sector to help them deposit the fuel they are bringing in. And those private people will not do it free of charge. So they have to pay them for using their storage. Those people also have to put increase. Transportation has to be there.
So the government all along has not been straightforward in the way they deal with the public. And these are some of the things that make the marketer and seller, what are you talking? You know, this is the amount you brought the fuel to the country. You know, you don't even have storage. These are the things we are doing. And so that's why the just fed, look, don't sing a song. Tell the world, the public. As I'm talking to you, the oil price at the world market is $74. So normally, if we have a refinery where things are normalized, we should be paying less. And then the money coming to the pocket of the government will be less too. But even then, in the days of plenty, the government cannot tell. They are rather keep borrowing, and the subsidy they are telling us is also like, because number one, they don't even know how many fuel we are consuming on a daily basis. They cannot quantify the one used by Lagos and Abuja, which are the highest commercial area. So as a result, it has been a chessboard of corruption. So these are the things that made marketers to say when the EFCC were giving them 48 hours, they just love them to come, because they know the real people behind this thing is that NNPC is a chessboard of corruption. And most of the things they do are in secret until they come open and tell us this is the only Nigeria among the oil producing countries. I think we were the 6th on OPEC. So, and you don't have refinery. And this government under President Buhari said 1 refinery 1 year. This is the 7th and a half year, and you are about going now. You are now talking we will withdraw some of this. You will withdraw something in May when you know you are going. So the new person is coming. You want the country to get blown up from there. So this is the reason why people just felt, look, you said even something was a scam. Now you are facing, you give you another name, and now you are not there. You cannot even explain how much you are spending on something. We are not talking of trillion. So that's why we felt this government has not been straightforward, and the marketer has the right to tell them to go to places.
All right, Alhaji Agbola, oil marketers abandon scheme to break subsidy regime. What is your take on this abandonment of the scheme by the oil marketers?
Well, like the lawyer said, the arrangement was that bring fuel into the country. NNPC, only NNPC, PLC or whatever limited liability company now does it. But when they come in, even, and you know, as we are buying it, I bought 290 some time ago. Government is still subsidizing because the cost is not from outside. Initially, what we were complaining about is the freight that's bringing it from over, the insurance and other things that help to increase the price. But now when they get into the country, where the storage facilities of NNPC all have been vandalized, so they now rely on the private people, and the private depots to not do it for free, because even in Freetown nothing is free, and not to talk about Nigeria, so nothing is free there. So they add their own, and some papers even have it that they charge in foreign currency. So by the time they add all this, that's why initially the government was helpless. They knew, of course, that the marketers is not their fault. I mean, they too are not giving it to them. These people, marketers, are not buying it at the rate the government, maybe 148 or thereabout. So now they add up everything. They are also in business to make money, so they increase the price. Now DSS said they are giving them 48. It's now for over 48 hours. Now where is the fuel? I mean, I've passed through town. The major this thing, they are not selling because they don't have. Look, there's only one solution to this problem. Let us have refining. We are starting off with Dangote. That, to me, that's not even good enough. We rely on Dangote for cement. We rely on Dangote for spaghetti. We rely on Dangote for sugar. And we are going to rely on Dangote for fuel, not only PMS, Jet A1, diesel, kerosene. Now, supposing something, God forbid, and we can't even say God forbid, but so, okay, God forbid, supposing something happened to Dangote, then we will be helpless again. Why can't we, as a country, if you are going to PPP, let's go into PPP. If you are going to get other people, but why should 200 million, over 200 million, depend on one person for 5 or 6 vital and essential services? It can only happen in Nigeria. So we can't blame the marketers.
All right. Kayode, what is your reaction to this abandonment of the scheme to break subsidy regime by oil marketers?
I think the marketers have seen the deceit in the whole system. You see, there is more to this present scarcity than ordinary. there is more to it. You know, the government through NNPCs continue to tell us that it has so volume of PMS. I think sometime 2 or 3 days ago, the man came out again to tell us about 1 billion liters of fuel. If it is true that they have that quantity, why are we experiencing scarcity? So it means there is more to it. And you see, it's a country that is, I don't want to use a foul language. It's a country that, I think there's a spell working on this country. We have people that are so ingenious to have developed modular refineries. Modular refineries, why can't we encourage them? Rather than destroying them, why can't we make regulation to regularize that business so that it will assist in these refined petroleum products? But instead of doing that, we continue to destroy continue to destroy them. And then NNPC, which is the sole importer of fuel, has been capacitated now. It's all lies. That was also volume of it's all lies. So these marketers have seen the lies, and they're also exploiting it. It's unfortunate that it's happening at this time of the year, which has become regular. Whenever there's this festivity, particularly Christmas, we have this kind of situation, and it's very unfortunate. As I continue to say, it all boils down on leadership.
All right. Now, because of our time, let's, Barrister Obadita, oil is supposed to be for the benefit of all Nigerians. But today, it is a source of agony. How do we turn it to a source of joy? Briefly.
Yes, and you have a leader who thinks about the people, who thinks about the common interest before it can be so. But today, most of the leaders are imagining, they are imagining for their own pockets. And none of them has lamented and said, since I was a child, this is the cupboard they were selling for. Now that this thing is becoming so and so, kerosene cannot be, there was a campaign at a point in time that nobody should be cutting tree. There are kerosene, and they were even distributing stove. Now today, even if you have stove, you cannot afford. So until leader emerge and see the need to have refinery, or even sell the whole rubbish that's and build just one, that will be the beginning of the solution to Nigerian food.
Alhaji Agbola, your final remark, how do we turn this oil to a source of joy for Nigerians?
Well, we have a long way to go. No, they have discovered in Bauchi and Gombe. The one we have now, what is the value we added to it? That's the question. The one we have, we started at Oloibiri in Bayelsa, 1956. What value we have? It is only still controlled by the expatriates. We have very little local content in it. So we have to do more than what we have done.
Okay. Kayode, your parting remark, because we need to turn this oil, for the benefit of Nigerians.
Well, I think most hope, I want every hope, is now placed on Dangote refinery, which is slated to come on stream maybe the first quarter of next year. But people have forgotten that Dangote is a businessman. It's not a Father Christmas. So whatever he produces, he want to make money, and he can also exploit the situation, the bad situation, for his own advantage. So for us to now place our hope on Dangote refinery against next year, I think it's a misplaced hope. It's a misplaced hope. We have to work on how to bring up these refineries. And if you are able to construct, if the new government, they are making promises now, we will solve this fuel problem, we will build refineries just as we had with this man who is going now.
All right.
So let's hope we have another government that will live up to expectations.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the program today. Barrister Obadita, I appreciate your comment.
Thank you.
Alhaji Agbola, thanks for the contribution today.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
Kayode Adedire, I appreciate your comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Viewers of this is where we are going to call it good for today. Tomorrow is another day where you join another of my colleagues in the newsroom. Until then, bye-bye.
Mondays through Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. in the newsroom. You can't afford to miss it.
ọyẹ ìtẹ̀lẹ́mì ká lọ gbogbo ọmọ ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ìpínlẹ̀ ọmọlúwàbí gbogbo Nàìjíríà pátápátá ìdí àlọ OSBC ilé àwíyé lókè balẹ̀ dandan ní ìlú Òṣogbo òròkè àsálà orí ìróyòrè ìmúròde ò sílò omi ò dírẹ́bà gbé mi òdodo ọ̀rọ̀ dírẹ́bà gbé mi kọ́bá ti gbé mi lọ́sọ̀gbọ̀ ò sílò omi ò máa béèrè OSBC máa béèrè ilé àwíyé máa béèrè amóhùnmáwòrán o.
Kérésìmesì ọdún ayọ̀.
ọdún dé o ẹ jẹ́ ká yọ̀ ẹ̀mí wa aṣọ kan ẹ̀ o.
kò sí àní-àní pé afẹ́fẹ́ ọdún kérésìmesì tí ń fẹ́ lọ́tún lọ́sì bọ́dún kérésìmesì ṣe ń súnmọ́ ìgbìmọ̀ aláṣẹ àtàwọn òṣìṣẹ́ iléeṣẹ́ OSBC ń dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run fún àánú àti ìpamọ́ rẹ̀ látẹ̀sí bí a ṣe wá ń dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run bẹ́ẹ̀ la mọ rírì ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ iléeṣẹ́ yìí tẹ̀ ń gbọ́ wa tẹ̀ ń wò wá tẹ̀ tún ṣonígbàwó ètò kan tàbómi ìlọ́dọ̀ wa a wá ń fi àsìkò yìí rán yín létí pé ìgbìmọ̀ tí iléeṣẹ́ OSBC gbé kalẹ̀